How hot is that seat for Autry?
According to social media, Adrian Autry is going to get fired or should be fired because of the loss to Hofstra, the lack of plays, bad foul shooting. You can go on and on. Now, I've said before, this is a judgment year for him for sure. They need to make the NCAA tournament. They need to win. And now that I've thought about it more and more and hear more people talk about it, he's not going anywhere. He's not getting fired after this season, even if they don't make the NCAA tournament. Why? Because he's tied to John Wildak, and also Jim Boeheim, although is not the coach anymore, he's still got influence. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what he says. He definitely does. I saw him on a podcast, and he said, you got to give coaches 5 years, even in this day and age. I got 5 years. Other coaches got 5 years. It's so much harder this time around because you have to rebuild your roster every single year, et cetera, et cetera. John Wildak, he kept Dino Babers for 7 years. That should tell you everything you need to know. I don't need to go into that. Now, I am here more to say something to Syracuse and to Autry and John Wildak maybe, is that you can go out and give good effort and the teams can play hard, the players can play hard, and you can still lose, and people at least can recognize that, and that's fine. But what you can't do is come into the press conference and sit there and say stuff like level 5 energy and juicing station and all these little buzzword things that are really internal that nobody understands, and then lose. Because nobody wants to hear that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a company that's starting out that has all these weird terms of service and stuff, or have ping pong tables but don't have good jobs. It doesn't do anything. So John Wildak worked at ESPN for 36 years. Why can't you sit Autry down and say, listen, I don't want to hear those type of things in the press conferences. When you speak at the press conferences, speak slower. Don't say the words every other time, because it just makes it sound worse. And then when people ask him questions, he's very terse, and he has no business being terse. You lose to teams like Hofstra, or you are in close games with St. Joseph's or whatever, and people have questions, or you lose games because of foul shots or because of bonehead plays, people are going to have questions. Now, the Syracuse media doesn't always ask the greatest questions. Sometimes they give a long statement and then a question. So he might get mad at you for doing that. And that's journalism 101, guys. Just ask the question of the subject. We want to hear from Autry. We don't want to hear from you and your point of view. We want to hear from what he's saying. So ask him pointed questions. Ask him questions that are good questions. Like, when is it appropriate to put on the press? And I'll answer that question. It's appropriate to put on the press right away, because this team is not great in the half-court offense. They're not great at foul shooting. They're not great at three-point shooting. So what's their advantage? Their athleticism, their speed. Use it. Start pressing. If you get a rebound, start looking to run and get easy buckets. The team gets easy buckets, the shots that are harder will start to fall. Those shots start to fall, you start to win games. Maybe then the foul shots will start to fall. I know they work on it, but it has to be done in the game. So that's my little pep talk to the fans, to the university, and to anybody else.